Revealed, the sacred wife of Noah and her incredible descendants, a transforming biblical truth. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the earth lay steeped in wickedness, echoing the somber thoughts of the Most High, I will blot out man whom I have created, Genesis 6 verse 7, ESV. Amidst the swirling shadows of sin, a faithful man named Noah stood firm, his heart attuned to the voice of God. He was a beacon of righteousness, chosen to preserve humanity from an impending storm that threatened to sweep away the very fabric of creation. As the sun dipped low, and dark clouds began their ominous march across the sky, Naamah, the wife of Noah, sensed a gravity in the air, a divine calling rooted in love and obedience. As she watched her husband labor tirelessly on the great ark, Naamah felt the weight of the world upon her shoulders. The laughter and mockery of their neighbors echoed in her ears. Why do you build such a boat? There is no flood coming. Yet, she clung to the slender thread of hope that whispered from the depths of her spirit, urging her to support Noah in his sacred mission. Gathering wood, her hands became rough with the ache of the labor, and in each splintered piece, she saw glimpses of their future, a sanctuary born out of obedience. In the hushed moments between the chaos, Naamah found solace in her own quiet prayers to the Lord. Give us strength, O God, as we undertake this task. She labored alongside Noah, forging more than a vessel. Together, they constructed a refuge of salvation at the command of the Almighty. Dark storms loomed ahead, yet her heart remained steadfast in the covenant blessings promised to them. As Noah spoke words of faith over their children, Naamah felt the stirring of an unshakable resolve. The skies opened, and the heavens began to weep, each drop carrying judgment for a world that had turned its back on the Creator. Wrapped in the protective embrace of the ark's walls, Naamah's heart wrestled with uncertainty. The sounds of despair from beyond their sanctuary loomed large. Even as the place around them grew chaotic, she recognized the significant truth: they were part of a greater narrative, a divine plan to renew the earth. Lord, grant my children the vision to see and believe, Naamah whispered, feeling the weight of legacy settle upon her. As the rain's intensity grew, drowning the familiar world, Naamah tended to her family's spirit. She urged them to remember the stories of old, the faithfulness of God through the ages. Though the earth is submerged, our hope remains above, she said, wiping the water from her cheeks, tears blending with the storm outside. Her children listened, absorbing the rich heritage they must carry forward. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. The waters surged higher, throwing them into a surreal silence as life as they knew it vanished beneath the tumultuous waves. The once familiar world was gone, leaving only the echo of their faith within the ark. Naamah gazed into Noah's eyes, a silent understanding passing between them, a reminder that they would emerge from this storm into a world transformed. Yet, as the waters stretched infinitely around them, a new uncertainty crept into her heart. What would await them when the sun finally shone again? Their voyage had only just begun, and the thread of destiny was yet to be fully woven. In the dim glow of the ark, hope entwined with dread, Naamah clung to God's unshakable promise as they awaited the dawn of renewal, ready to step into a future that only He could unveil. As the waters rose high above the mountains and the earth was swallowed by the relentless tide, the ark became a sanctuary of survival, a vessel suspended between judgment and mercy. Naamah felt a profound stillness within her heart. Even as chaos roared outside, time itself had become a foreign concept. In that suspended reality, she turned to her children, their faces etched with both fear and wonder at the great divine act unfolding around them. Remember the promises, she urged, her voice steady like a lighthouse in the stormy seas. In the midst of all this, we are preserved by His grace. The ancient truths of their lineage, the covenant made with their forefather, Adam, and the faithfulness shown to their great-grandfather, Methuselah, now thrummed in the air as they clung together in prayer. The days bled into nights, marked only by the rhythmic creaking of the ark. As the rain fell mercilessly, Naamah sought the Lord's presence with renewed intensity. She filled her heart with scriptures and the stories that had been handed down, choosing to keep their spirits fueled with faith rather than fear. "Pray with me," she invited her children, "for even in darkness, we light the match of hope." Meanwhile, deep in the heart of the ark, Noah continued his labor. Each task was a testament to obedience, whether it was tending to the animals or reinforcing the structure. He paused intermittently to offer prayers of gratitude and seek God's wisdom amidst the tumult. Noah often felt Naamah's hand on his shoulder, a silent confirmation of their shared resolve. Though the world outside was lost, he was driven by the promise that life would emerge anew. As the floodwaters stretched endlessly across the earth, God remembered Noah. Through the cracks of the wooden vessel, a gentle reminder echoed within his spirit, "Be strong and courageous, for I am with you." Then, though the storms raged, a flicker of something miraculous danced on the cusp of eternity, a light that promised renewal, awaiting the appointed hour. Days turned into weeks, and the fear of the unknown gnawed at Naamah's heart. What will be left for us? She wondered. What if we are the last remnant? Yet, each night as they huddled together in prayer, she instilled in her family the steadfast truth: God would never leave nor forsake them. Then one evening, with the wind whispering secrets of the sky, there came a sudden pause, like the world held its breath, waiting. The pounding of the rain ceased, and the silence was profound. A deep assurance flooded her soul as she looked into Noah's eyes. Could it be? Naamah asked, her voice trembling with hopeful anticipation. With hearts beating in unison, Noah and Naamah stepped to the windows of the ark, gazing upon the murky waters that began to recede. Daylight pierced through the clouds, illuminating the promise of a new beginning. As they wanted to rejoice, a soft voice rose from within Naamah, reminding her of the God who separated the waters in the beginning. "His plans are unfolding," she murmured, feeling an electrical charge of faith coursing through her. That day, the earth would see a new dawn, the dawn of God's covenant with Noah and his seed. Yet, a lingering mystery stirred within Naamah's spirit, igniting a deeper inquiry. "But what, dear Lord, is the fullness of your promise? What lies ahead for my children, and how shall they carry forward this legacy?" In the elation of this divine turning point, the stage was set for what was to come, echoing a greater unveiling in God's sovereign plan. The ark drifted gently, as though cradled in the arms of the Almighty. Naamah stood, peering through the small opening, watching the waters ebb back towards their ancient beds. Each moment felt monumental, as if creation itself was taking a collective breath. The promise of God hovered in the air, tangible yet shrouded in divine mystery. "Noah," she called softly, drawing his gaze away from the horizon. "The waters have receded. Do you feel it? The pulse of a new creation?" Her heart was alight with anticipation, yet shadows of doubt lingered at the edges of her mind. Noah nodded, his rugged countenance softened by the tender light of that dawn. "Indeed, the Lord is faithful. Our journey is not yet finished, beloved. There is more we must seek from him." As he spoke, the weight of his words grounded Naamah. In reality her heart soared, but they were still suspended in God's plan. The family gathered, eyes bright with the promise of renewal. On that sacred vessel, the animals began to stir, their instinct whispered a foretelling of the earth's revival. A sense of urgency gripped Naamah's spirit. God had chosen them for a sacred task. "Pray with me," she urged, her voice steady. "Let us beseech the Lord for understanding." They knelt together on the smooth wood of the ark, surrounding themselves with the presence of God, a unified cry of hope rising like incense. Days passed, marked by the burgeoning life outside. At last, Noah, empowered by the Holy Spirit, sent forth a raven to survey the world. It flew across the skies but returned not, untethered by the confines of the ark. Next, a dove was dispatched, a creature of peace. Upon the third day, the dove returned with an olive branch, its gentle wings a testament to the promise of life. Naamah beheld it with reverent joy. "See! The waters are diminishing," she exclaimed, squeezing Noah's hand, her heart swelling with a blend of relief and fervent hope, but within her lingered the echoed question, "What now, Lord?" The answer was laced with divine purpose. The flood marked the end of an age and the dawn of another. With reverent patience, Naamah waited for further unfolding. A voice, soft yet thunderous, filled the ark, reverberating within each heart. It was God, speaking his covenant anew: be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. Naamah shivered, for she knew that with the promise came responsibility. The legacy of their family would carry the torch of faith, like a lighthouse guiding future generations. Instructions, O Lord, Noah prayed fervently. Show us the path we must take. As the answer echoed upon the waters, the horizon brightened, revealing dry land, a stark contrast to the once chaotic deluge. With the earth emerging from its watery shroud, Naamah felt a stirring within her heart entwined with the Spirit's revelation. What new beginnings awaited them? The vision of her children playing on the grass, planting new seeds of hope, filled her with joy. As they descended from the ark, Naamah breathed in the fresh air that smelled of earth and promise. Each step felt monumental, for they were no ordinary family, they were instruments of God's mercy. Remember, she instructed her children gently, we are the keepers of his covenant. Let us honor him with our lives. With every heartbeat, her spiritual senses heightened, awakening an understanding that their journey was just beginning. In that sacred moment of revelation, a dawning realization gripped her heart. What legacy shall we establish? She pondered as the sunlight poured down upon them. The earth itself awaited their stewardship, but somewhere deep within, she sensed another mystery, a whisper of God's ultimate plan still to be revealed, intertwining in the threads of faith, challenging her to believe. What may lie ahead for us, dear Lord? Naamah prayed, feeling the weight of divine purpose settle upon her shoulders, sparking a sacred anticipation of what the Creator would unveil. As the sunlight enveloped the earth, casting away the shadows of the flood, Naamah and her family stood upon the dry land with hearts full of awe. The air was rich with the scent of fresh earth and the remnants of water, a fragrant reminder of divine judgment now turned to mercy. The birds sang their joyous songs, every note echoing the revival of creation. Noah turned to his family, his voice steady with resolve. Let us build an altar to the Lord. For it is by his grace we have emerged from the depths, and it is by his promise that we shall thrive. The family gathered stones from their surroundings, each stone a testament to the foundation of their new life, and they worked together, fashioning a place of worship where they would honor their Creator. Once the altar stood firm, Noah knelt, anointing it with the blood of the clean animals, as the Lord had instructed. In that moment of humility, he cried out, O Lord of heaven and earth, accept our offering, our hearts are yours. As the smoke ascended towards the heavens, a pleasing aroma filled the air. The very presence of God descended like a warm breeze, wrapping around them as a cloak of reassurance and promise. And the voice of God spoke again, I establish my covenant with you and your descendants after you and with every living creature that was with you. In that declaration, the assurance of hope flowed from the Almighty. Their future was secured in his unwavering faithfulness. Naamah felt a deep surge of joy and relief, yet in her heart remained a profound wonder at the significance of this moment. What are your plans for us, O Lord? She whispered, longing for wisdom, longing to see the tapestry of their legacy unfold. Noah turned to her, sensing her thoughts, our lives have been preserved for a purpose. We are called by him to begin anew, to fill the earth with righteousness. Days turned to weeks as the family settled into their new life. The earth blossomed under the warmth of the sun, and under Noah's guidance, they began to cultivate the land. Naamah took joy in planting gardens, nurturing the tender shoots that sprang forth, her hands returning to the soil, a sacred act in itself. The animals roamed freely, and laughter blended with the songs of creation as their children played and thrived, yet Naamah felt an undercurrent of anticipation and awareness that the Lord was not done speaking, not done revealing the depths of his holy plan. In the quiet of the evenings, she would reflect upon the promise of Genesis, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. As the stars peeked through the night sky, Naamah pondered, what will become of our lineage? Will our descendants walk in the light of his covenant? She lifted her eyes to the heavens, searching for understanding, knowing that the threads of their existence were woven into a greater narrative yet to unravel. Noah often spoke of the covenants made with their forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, reminding them that the promise of land and lineage was intricately tied to their faithfulness. Yet they were but the beginning. The fate of nations rested upon the legacy they would leave, and as the first rains began to fall again, they rejoiced, knowing that God remembered his covenant. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. But deep within Naamah, a question lingered like an unquenched thirst. What is our role in this unfolding story, dear Lord? For in the stillness of her heart, she sensed the stirring of destinies intertwined, a revelation waiting to crystallize with each new day. The dawn of hope was on the horizon, yet she knew that the promise stretched farther than their immediate understanding. God's sovereign plan was alive, and she was called to bear witness to its unfolding. What mysteries lay in wait just beyond their horizon? The whispers of future generations beckoned to her spirit as she took a step forward into the ever-unfolding purpose of the Almighty. As the seasons passed, the earth began to heal, blooming under the faithful watch of God and the labor of Noah's family. The days turned bright with joy as they gathered together, sharing stories of old, recounting the promise of God and his covenant, a legacy written in the stars above and in the soil beneath their feet. Noah, now a shepherd of his people, called to his family, "Let us not forget the path from whence we came. We must teach our children of the Lord's faithfulness. For their hearts must be rooted in his truth, lest they turn aside." The children listened with wide eyes, their hearts absorbing the gravity of history etched in their ancestors' lives. Naamah, too, took upon her the responsibility of nurturing their spiritual growth. "Children," she said, gathering them about her in the evening shade of the great oak, "do you hear the whispers of God in the rustle of the leaves? Even now, he speaks to us, guiding our steps. Remember, he has given us this new life, let us walk in his ways." In those tranquil moments, she shared the histories of their forefathers, the triumphs of faith displayed through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, illustrating how God's hand had woven through the generations. Her voice cracked with emotion, imparting the importance of obedience and love for the Creator. But as serenity enveloped their days, a shadow persisted in the back of Naamah's spirit. In her dreams, she saw visions, a tapestry intermingled with light and darkness, laden with the weight of future sorrows and unnumbered joys. "What do these dreams mean, O Lord?" She would pray, seeking his wisdom and guidance, her heart heavy with expectancy. One night, while the moon hung low and full, casting shadows upon the earth, the Lord spoke once more. His voice echoed in her spirit, "Naamah, you are the matriarch of a great nation. From your womb will come leaders and servants of my covenant." These words ignited a fire in her heart, swirling with both dread and wonder. "How can this be?" she mused. "Will our descendants rise to new heights, or will they test the boundaries of faith set before them?" Dimly, she sensed the weight of prophetic destiny, an echo of a struggle that would haunt the generations, the enmity foretold between her offspring and the serpent. And thus, she resolved to raise her children in the shadow of the Almighty, teaching them to cast their gaze upon his promises as surely as the stars above guided them through the night that and the days that followed. A great joy surrounded the family. As Noah and his sons began to build their homes, the earth flourished anew with streams and vibrant fields. Yet with the laughter of their children was woven the deep sorrow of the very real threat of evil. Naamah spoke with Noah, sharing her dreams and burdens. "Noah, what if our descendants choose the path of wickedness? What shall become of your covenant, O Lord? Our lineage must choose wisely." Noah placed a comforting hand on her shoulder, his eyes filled with the fierce resolve of a protector. "We shall give them roots of faith. Our covenant with God remains a guiding light. He will not forsake his promise." Yet unbeknownst to them, in the shadows of the earth, dark forces stirred, fingers of temptation reaching toward their children. The serpent watched, and the very breath of life that the Lord bestowed upon creation held the thread of rebellion coiling around the pulsing hearts of their descendants. As Naamah gazed into the distance, where the horizon met the boundless sky, she felt in her soul the stirring of prophetic truths yet to unfold. She stood, anchored in faith, uncertain yet steadfast, aware that her family was destined to shape the course of man. And as the winds of change began to blow across the land, the echoes of God's promise reverberated in the deepest crevices of her spirit. but what she did not know was that the battles of tomorrow would carve out the very essence of the covenant of grace. With this knowledge, she stepped into the unknown, embracing the mystery that lay ahead, a chapter unwritten in the grand narrative of the Almighty. As the dawn painted the skies with hues of orange and purple, the land awakened anew. The household of Noah was imbued with hope and resolve. Each family member dedicated their efforts to the renewal of the earth, fostering not only a bountiful harvest but souls anchored in righteousness. Naamah gathered her children, who were now strong and lively, and she taught them the songs of praises meant to honor their Creator. "Sing with joy, my children," she urged, "for our hearts are made to rejoice in the goodness of the Lord. Let His love be reflected in our lives as we dwell in this blessed land." As the melodies danced upon the air, Noah watched, his heart swelling with pride. These were the fruits of their faithfulness, children molded by the teachings of their parents. Yet, deep within his spirit lay a somber understanding. He recalled the words of the Lord spoken many moons ago, "The inclinations of man's heart are evil from his youth," Genesis 8 verse 21. Indeed, as seasons passed, a multitude of children filled the earth. Yet in their hearts, temptation stalked, waiting for the opportune moment to pounce like a lion in the shadows. The stories of their forefathers, once told with exuberance, now faced an enemy more cunning than any that had come before. One day, as their laughter echoed across the valley, the children of Noah began to play a game of mockery. They donned masks woven from leaves and twisted branches, imitating the creatures of the ground, making jest of their father's solemn warnings against folly. Naamah observed the delight transforming into disobedience, and her heart trembled within her chest. "Noah!" she cried, seizing his arm with urgency. "The spirit of rebellion is woven among our children. Our teachings must anchor them lest they stray into darkness." Noah turned to her, the weight of fatherhood bearing heavily upon him. "We must address this matter as one," he answered. "Our children need to understand the severity of their choices." Gathering the young ones beneath the great oak, a heart full of desire to redirect their impetuous spirits, Noah spoke with a voice tempered in authority. "Children, you are the progeny of a promise, woven into the fabric of creation by the hand of God. Do not take lightly the history and faith that have been bestowed upon you." His eyes bore the urgency of a man who had witnessed the rage of the waters. Naamah, standing beside him, offered her gentle strength. "Remember, my beloveds, the stories of faith you have sung. Each tale is a thread in the tapestry of your lives. He who formed the stars demands that you seek Him above all else, for wandering hearts stray into the abyss." Yet, in the midst of their digesting the words, the serpent, masked as a shimmer of light, descended upon the children. "Has God truly said? Is it not much more delightful to know beyond obedience?" it whispered with cunning deceit. As a chill wind swept through the glade, doubts fanned the flames of curiosity amongst the young, sowing seeds of discontent that in her spirit. Naamah faltered for a moment, her dreams merging with reality. "What hope have we, O Lord, if they lean towards temptation?" she cried in deep prayer, feeling the weight of her prophetic call. It was then the Lord, in a whisper of comfort, spoke to her soul, "Fear not, Naamah, for my covenant shall endure. What you nurture in faith will yield fruit." This promise washed over her like a gentle stream, renewing her spirit amid turmoil. As days turned to nights filled with fervent prayers, hearts positioned to receive divine guidance, the children began to awaken in understanding. Yet the serpent, ever watchful in its schemes, plotted still, lurking with purposes unprofitable. Naamah, fortified in faith, sensed a greater battle looming on the horizon. "What we do today lays the groundwork for tomorrow," she shared with Noah, the urgency of her voice fueling a fire in the depths of providence. "Then walk boldly before our God," Noah urged, entwining his strength with hers. "For in their choices lies the path that leads either to folly or faith. What may seem as a trivial rebellion could fracture our lineage." With those words, darkness and light coalesced around them, as Naamah took a breath, prepared to walk further into the tapestry being woven for her descendants. And as the threads continued to twist and tangle, the unseen hands of the Almighty began to weave a story meant to echo through generations, for within the hearts of their progeny lay the seeds of a promise that would one day burst forth into the earth. But what she did not yet grasp was that righteous roots, once established, lead the way to a reckoning, where choices writ large would either garner blessing or curse. As the sun sank beyond the horizon, casting long shadows over the verdant fields, the household of Noah gathered once more in prayer. An unspoken tension lingered in the air, a foreboding sense that the whispers of discontent among their children had not yet dissipated. The laughter that once filled their home had grown sweeter, yet mingled with the salt of unease. Noah knelt before the altar he had constructed, the stones worn smooth by years of reverent offerings. He lifted his voice in humble supplication. O Lord, sovereign Creator, we beseech you. Grant us wisdom and strength to guide these young souls destined to carry forth our legacy. May they not squander the heritage forged in your covenant. Beside him, Naamah clutched the hands of their children, her heart throbbing with motherly compassion. Sweet ones, she implored softly, let your songs ascend like incense before our God. Let your hearts be tender and open, for the enemy lies in wait, seeking to lead you astray. A rustle in the thicket stirred the youngest child, who peered into the depths of the woods. Mother, what lies beyond the trees? They queried innocently, unable to grasp the danger lurking in curiosity untempered. With a glance at Noah, Naamah's spirit ignited with protective fervor. Beloved, the world outside our Father's care may hold great wonders, but do not forget, it also carries snares. The Lord's commands are for our protection. Cast not your gaze upon what may draw you from his light. Yet the serpent, with its serpentine tongue, still prowled amidst them, weaving its way into the souls of the unwary. Are you truly free, or are you prisoners of ancient fear? It hissed, enticing the hearts of the young. Is it not wisdom to seek out knowledge? Surely you shall not die. In that moment, a darkness descended upon the children's hearts, like a storm threatening to shatter the delicate peace. Their voices, once in harmony with the praises of God, began to murmur questions, sowing seeds of doubt. Noah, witnessing the shadows lengthening in their eyes, rose to address the gathering. Children, listen to me. There exists a sacred path lit by the Creator's hand. To stray from it is to turn away from the very purpose for which you were born. His voice met the silence, a herald against the encroaching deceit. Naamah stepped forward, embodying both gentleness and resolve. The trees that sway in the winds, the mountains that rise in majesty, all proclaim the glory of the Creator. Seek ye first his kingdom and delight in his ways. Her eyes sparkled with an ethereal light as she spoke, stirring memories of righteousness within the hearts of her children. As night enveloped them, the stars began to emerge, twinkling like jewels scattered across a velvet tapestry. Naamah gazed up, her heart soaring with the realization of God's omnipotence. Look! She called to them, each star is a reminder of his faithfulness, a promise that he has not forgotten us. Do you not see how vast are his plans? Trust him, for they are greater than we can comprehend. Yet one child, timid yet emboldened by confusion, ventured to ask, but what if he does not answer our cries? Will he still be with us? A tremor of fear echoed in the question, striking to the core of Naamah's resolve. Fear not, dear child. She replied, knitting her brow with newfound determination. The Lord is a steadfast refuge. His voice may be soft, but it carries the weight of truth. When trials come, cling to his promises. He is always near his own. And so, in the stillness of that holy night, as the glow of torches flickered like whispers of the divine, Noah and Naamah led their children in prayer, each heart realigning towards the eternal. But unbeknownst to them, as they prayed, the serpent watched, its scheming heart plotting the next move in a dance of temptation. The tension thickened as shadows began to weave through the world around them, whispering that the path to knowledge was not only alluring but perilous. What they did not yet perceive, the wind sighed through the leaves, was that within their very struggle lay the foundation for a greater destiny. For as they contended against the dark, so too would light be birthed from their choices. Thus, the fabric of their lives began to stitch anew, revealing threads of faith intertwined with trials. Little did they know, the stage was set for a revelation that would echo through the ages, a testament to divine perseverance, and the unfathomable grace of the one who had preserved them through the storm. As the early dawn light began to spill over the horizon, golden rays pierced through the branches, rousing the household of Noah from their night of fervent prayer. The air was heavy with a sense of anticipation, as if the very creation was holding its breath for what was to come. The children, still dazed with sleep, gathered around their father, who stood firm with his eyes locked upon the heavens. Noah sensed a stirring in his spirit, a prompting that urged him to share the weighty legacy of the ark in God's command. "Children," he began, his voice steady as a rock, "yours is a sacred calling far greater than you know. Remember, we have been chosen to preserve life and uphold the covenant of our Creator. But with this calling comes a great responsibility." As he spoke, the serpent lurked in shadows, undeterred, slithering silently among the trees, biding its time before sowing more discord. It had witnessed the unity of Noah's family and loathed it deeply, plotting to unravel the very threads of their kinship. Naamah, emboldened by the words of her husband, added, "Soon, we shall be faced with choices that may seem small but will shape our destinies. Listen to the whispering of your hearts, but take heed, beware the voices that lead astray. The path of righteousness often lies cloaked in the ordinary." A murmur rippled through the children, some nodding in understanding while others glanced uneasily at one another. A sense of foreboding began to nestle within, reminiscent of the serpent's earlier temptation. As they broke for breakfast, their simple meal gathered them around the table of their hearts, yet questions still floated like mist in their minds. One child, Shem, unable to contain his curiosity, voiced the doubts that were gnawing at him. "Father, how do we know which path is truly the one that pleases the Lord? When will the signs come?" Noah paused, sensing the turbulent currents around his son's spirit. "The Lord has given us tools to discern His will," he replied, "His word and His presence guide us. Seek the counsel of our God in prayer. He does not leave His people in darkness, He reveals His heart in stages, a little here and a little there." Meanwhile, the serpent, coiling with malevolent intent, orchestrated the shadows to wrap tighter around the heart of Ham. The stolen whispers became a seed planted deeply in his mind. What if you could grasp the knowledge beyond what your parents understand? Would it not elevate you? One evening, under cloistered starlight, the innermost thoughts began to wrestle within Ham. He glanced at his father and mother, their unwavering faith fortified by years of obedience to God. Yet the allure of whispered knowledge lured him to question. Could it not be worth knowing? To be like God's, knowing good and evil? The children, each navigating their own storms of belief and doubt, felt the weight of their responsibility to their lineage. Naamah, ever watchful, noticed the inner turmoil darkening Ham's gaze. "Dear son," she implored gently, "do not trade the lasting richness of faith for transient wisdom. Our heritage is built on trust and obedience to the Most High." As the days turned into weeks, the light of understanding grew more obscure for the children as they grappled with their desires. The serpent's venom turned their innocence into a battlefield of choices. Just as the ancient serpent once turned hearts, he now moved among them, thirsty to sow discord and discontent. When the time came for the family to gather for the evening sacrifice, tempest stirred within Ham. His heart raced, burdened with the weight of decision, while moments of clarity eluded him. With each sacrificial offering, Noah and Naamah, steadfast, sought God's guidance, praying for their children amid the rising storm threatening their unity. And as night fell once more and the stars twinkled overhead, an enticing whisper lingered, echoing from the depths of the woods. It beckoned with unholy allure, promising secrets and revelations that the youthful hearts yearned to grasp. What they failed to grasp was that their responses to these trials would echo through the ages, crafting a legacy far beyond their understanding. Seeds of faith were sown amid the struggle, unseen forces were at work, weaving divine destiny into their very existence, for within those pivotal moments lay a tapestry of greater revelations yet to unfold. Thus, within their steadfast prayers and fragmented doubts, they became unwitting custodians of an unfolding plan, the shining light of covenant grace amidst shadows. For in the battle for their hearts and souls, the greatest truth loomed ever nearer, concealed in divine mystery. As the shadows of night melted away beneath the glow of a new dawn, the days continued to pass, each one steeped in the weight of both duty and uncertainty. Noah, filled with resolve, summoned his family for yet another morning gathering. The air was thick with unspoken fears, swirling around them like the gathering clouds that hinted at the deluge soon to come. "Children," Noah began, his voice echoing with a solemnity that could only come from true conviction, "the Lord has placed before us the path of righteousness. Not only are we to build the ark, but we are to embody his principles within our lives." He looked deeply into each of their eyes, seeking to instill an unwavering commitment to the covenant they were tasked to uphold. Tension reverberated through their ranks, unseen but palpably felt. Ham, lost in thought, wrestled with the alluring whispers that slithered through his mind. The doubt nurtured by the serpent took root, growing like a weed among their steadfast faith. What if we are called to something greater than this? He pondered silently. Little did he understand that this question was the serpent's echo, further ensnaring him, but it was Japheth who broke through the tumult. "Father, we see the burdens this calling has placed upon you. How can we be of help?" His eyes shone with earnestness, and his spirit surged with desire to stand alongside his parents in the fulfillment of God's commands. This simple utterance sparked hope, the light of commitment flickered anew against the looming darkness. Noah smiled, relief washing over his features. "My sons, your faith emboldens me. Together, as a family united in purpose, we must labor to prepare. The Lord has shown me that his mercy will be intertwined with judgment. We carry within us the promise of a new beginning, let this family be a beacon of salvation." Meanwhile, the serpent watched with malevolent eyes, his grip tightening around Ham's heart. The whisper grew louder, a haunting melody that warped truth into deception. "Father does not understand your potential," it hissed like a venomous wind. "You should not merely follow, you must lead." The harvest of seeds began to sprout as doubt blossomed into rebellion. Out of the watchful rays of the sun, Naamah perceived the turmoil within Ham. "Beloved," she soothed, with a mother's intuition guiding her, "trust in your father's wisdom. Our confidence lies in God, who calls and equips. Every path not aligned with his will leads to ruin." "Mother," Ham replied, a storm raging within him. "Do you not see? Perhaps in seeking deeper understanding, I could bring more to our family." The scales of his heart had been tipped, and each word dripped with the serpent's poison that I in the stillness of dusk, amid the night sounds and the rustling of leaves, prayers ascended from Naamah's heart, fervent pleas for her children's protection against the encroaching shadows. "O Lord," she prayed, "guard their hearts and guide their steps. May they see truth amidst the fog of confusion." The family's resolve was tested, for each day brought with it choices that reflected their inner struggles. Shem, burdened by the trials of his brother, sought solace in prayer and unity. "Let us stand firm, together," he urged, voicing the strength that echoed in every faithful heart. Days unfolded into weeks, and with each sacrifice upon the altar, the presence of God was beckoned forth. Noah led with unwavering faith, holding fast to the promise that lay hidden in the heart of darkness, a promise that blossomed brighter as they faced adversities together. Yet, the serpent slunk through the cracks of their unity, its whispers weaving a fabric of doubt. It beckoned Ham still, instilling unrest. And in the deepest silence of that relentless night, the yearning for knowledge transformed into a blinding ambition. What would be revealed to Ham would shape not only his own destiny but also the continuum of their lineage, a truth far darker and deeper than he could ever have fathomed. The ripples of his choices would echo through the corridors of history, intertwining grace with judgment, igniting a tale that would resonate through the ages. Thus, as their family continued to strive towards God's command, an unseen battle raged for their very souls, cloaked in divine purpose. Little did they know, a significant turning point awaited, a legacy not only of survival but of profound transformation that God had ordained before the foundations of the earth. For within this turbulent time, God's sovereign plan loomed, greater than all their fears, a promise sealed in eternity yet to unfold in the lives of his chosen. As the sun cast its golden rays upon the land once more, the household of Noah braced themselves for what was to come. The air hung heavy with both promise and uncertainty, the echoes of past judgments still reverberating in their hearts. God had spoken, and his covenant remained. Yet, shadows lingered among their children, threatening to unravel the very fabric of their faith. Noah, resolute and steadfast, gathered his family around the altar that had become a place of refuge and remembrance. In those sacred moments, he implored with a voice infused with authority, "Children, we must cultivate the gardens of our hearts like we do the earth. For every seed sown in faith shall yield a harvest of righteousness." He looked upon each of them, gauging their spirits, as the weight of their legacy settled on their shoulders. Naamah, with a heart full of love and concern, stood beside her husband. "Heed the call of God, my beloveds," she urged, "for his voice is a guiding light. Seek to nourish the connection that binds us, lest the allurements of rebellion fracture our unity." As the family knelt in prayer, Naamah sought the Lord, pouring out her heart in supplication. "O Lord, bind us together with your truth, for we are ready to embrace the destiny that lies ahead. May our lineage carry forth the torch of faith untarnished." Days danced through seasons, and the echoes of God's voice etched themselves deeper into the hearts of Noah's children. And yet, in the recesses of Ham's spirit, the serpent's poison still whispered. "Why adhere to the old ways?" It cunningly cooed. "There lies a world of understanding beyond this boundary. Power belongs to the ones who dare to question." As the sun set, the family gathered to reflect on the goodness of God. They shared laughter and fables of their ancestors, reminders of faith's triumphs, but within Ham, the struggle grew. One fateful night, emboldened by the unholy whispers, he ventured into the shadows of the grove that lined their home, seeking the knowledge that promised to elevate him above the rest. "Surely, you are meant for more," the serpent hissed, slithering closer, seeking an opening in Ham's heart. "Dare to taste what has been forbidden, it shall not lead to death, but to enlightenment." The night cloaked Ham's intention, and though the rest of the family prayed, he wrestled alone with the weight of his choices. Just as he reached for the temptation that lay before him, a flicker of doubt momentarily stilled his hand. A whisper of his mother's voice caressed his heart. "Seek not what leads to darkness. Choose the path of light that does not waver." Clarity emerged amidst the turmoil, yet the serpent pressed in. "Do you not wish to rise above your father's shadow?" it taunted, igniting the restless ambition within. In the heart of the family, senses heightened with fervent prayer, Naamah felt the rift widening. "Pray for him," she implored Noah, her voice tinged with urgency. "His spirit is being led astray. We must intercede." Noah clasped Naamah's hand, his grip firm with determination. "Together, we shall prevail against the darkness encroaching upon our lineage." Across the shadows of the orchard, Ham now stood at the precipice of choice. Yet even amidst the swirling turmoil, a resolve flickered within him. Unbeknownst to the family, it was God himself who inspired a challenge of faith, not merely for Ham but the entire lineage of Noah. The covenant was testing the very soul of creation. "Father, guide me," he prayed silently, feeling the clash of his desires against the legacy he bore. In the delicate balance, God's Spirit spoke a truth deep within: "Your choices define your path." In that moment, Ham stepped back, torn between two worlds, grappling with the specter of who he was destined to be, and finally, in an act of divine intervention that would shape all their futures, the heavens responded to their prayers. With a cascading chorus of thunder, the skies erupted, light came forth to pierce the darkness, illuminating the hearts of Noah's family. "Noah! Naamah!" Ham gasped, stumbling toward them in fervor. "I have chosen to embrace our family's covenant." The family's spirit lifted, embracing him in a surge of love and hope. As they knelt together once more, an arrow of assurance struck Naamah's heart. She sensed the profound truth that God's promises were being upheld. The serpent's whispers receded, powerless against the united faith of a family grounded in God's truth. "May our legacy be one of steadfast faith," Noah prayed. "Together, we shall walk boldly in the light of his promise." All around them, creation itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the moment they would rise together in unity, future generations anchored in the truths they guarded. And so, as the sun broke free of the dawn, casting its vibrant rays upon their lives anew, the household of Noah stood firm upon the foundation of God's covenant, ready to fulfill the divine plan nestled within the tapestry of their existence. Now is the time to act. If you are inspired by this profound journey of faith, subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss more powerful biblical stories. Your like helps spread God's word through the algorithm, reaching more hearts with His truth. Don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear of God's faithfulness, and leave a comment sharing how this story has impacted your faith journey. This is the moment to help spread biblical truth. There are souls waiting to be touched.